Good evening, everyone. Myself, Vandana, the National Youth Representative of the Wiki Water Resource Council, welcome you all on behalf of the Monday Munching Musing with Women for Water. This is an initiative of the Eco Development and Research Cell, a not-for-profit initiative of the environment design consultants based out of Ahmedabad. This has been made possible with the support of Water Resources Council of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. This particular initiative is also being run in collaboration with W4W Foundation, and our media partner for this particular conversation is Counterview. I'm joined today with Dr. Mansi Balbhargav, who is the National President of the Wiki Water Resources Council. Welcome, Mansi. We are glad to start the conversation, namely Monday Munching Musing with Women for Water, which we colloquially refer to as Blue Lip amidst us. This particular conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdoms by the women, for the women, and of the women in the water sector. Here we hope to learn about the water endeavors in a regular and disciplined manner, like a masterclass. Today, this particular masterclass, we are here to listen and know more about Durga Das, who is founder and managing partner of Dastar, a vehicle to generate a new model of investing, enabling first entrant entrepreneurs to raise money and build expertise, lending them towards additional future funding or buyout. Durga acquired the rights and technologies to patent its solutions and launched a water solution company called Aeronero. The technology is designed to biomimic desert plants and creatures to collect as much water as possible. We will know more about this initiative during our conversation. She has been associated with various academic entities to develop more low cost solutions and low maintenance solutions in water sector. To crystallize all her introduction in few sentences, I found the best suited introduction would be Durga believes sports builds character, has always motivated the younger generations to take active sport, not only for fitness of mind and body, but also to learn the higher lessons that playing a sports can teach. She is presently writing a book, and we would like to know more about it directly from Durga. So Durga, heartily welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I think it would be very appropriate for you to share with you as to how did you get started into the water sector? And how did you, tread this journey over a period of time? You may take some time to, trace your journey as to when you first started to till date moment.
Interesting. So I think what's pertinent and important is that I've been a professional sportsman, right? I've played cricket nationally, captained the US team. We need water. We can't survive otherwise. So if I have to think to the earliest memory of why water is important, it's very relevant to say it's because of sport. I also say there's only water around me. We can't drink it, but it's what we have. In fact, I am going to the World Championship in Newport, Rhode Island, later October for the World Sailing Championship. So, water and sport are kind of very connected to me. Having said that, why I wanted to get into the business of water was interesting because I don't know, I was in technology for a long time in the Valley. And after a while, you kind of see the same things again and again. It's just new ideas in old bottles, if you will. And where do you go with that, right? Newer phones, newer solutions, newer shopping carts. It doesn't leave you very, satiated. And I wanted to do something that would be meaningful in my life, and not when I was very old, but when I was young enough to do something about it, young enough to face a challenge, because all new ideas will come with challenges. So when I was about 40, I decided to look at areas that I thought would meaningfully impact India. And India only because I come from Chennai, I come from India. And I thought, why not take solutions back to where I came from? Little did I know that water is not a developing country problem. It's a developed country problem too. And so inadvertently, while I took this initiative to do something for my hometown, Chennai, which was reeling under water problem, it has now become a global story for me. We are in India, we are in Europe, we are moving into Africa. We started a company in California. So it's become a very, very global story. We have a global team. And I think this is what is going to change not just my life, but many lives around me. I'm sure there are other people and players in this space, but the problem is so big. I don't think any few of us could change it. We all need to be in it together, not competitively, but more cooperatively. And I think that's the only way we can truly see impact and change in our lives. When I thought of water and what I would like to do about it, there was actually a company here in Chennai, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, right? I had invested in it at that time. In my mind, and to my opinion, they were the first air water company in India, and maybe also in the world, amongst a few others who were there. For example, there was Water Gen from Israel. There was Air Water Corp from Florida. And here was Akash Ganga, right? And it was very nice, very innovative that they got into the space. But like many other great ideas, a little premature in terms of timing, can you leave you floundering? So unfortunately, they couldn't withstand, they couldn't persevere. And so they died a natural death. But they did give rise to many people in the space, simply by saying, hey, it's possible. And so when I was playing a cricket tournament in South Africa, Cape Town ran out of water.
Okay.
And then I came home and Chennai ran out of water. And then I go home to California, and then California has a problem with water. Realized it was time to do something about water. And so pulled together a team and created a first set of designs, because what was done before was, of course, not very efficient. It was too early at that time. Now we realized we needed to make water more accessible at a lower cost. We had to make sure power didn't become a factor of dissonance. We had to look at other innovative methods. And so that started the exciting journey of looking at various ways of tackling this water problem. Today, I would like to say that I am not in the business of selling machines that make water. I'm in it because I want to make a holistic change to water. If that means digging a borewell somewhere, so be it. If it means fixing an aerator to a tap, of course, we should do it. So I work very closely with the Rotary District 3232, which is now moving and is showcasing what is possible to other districts in the country and even abroad internationally, where we look at holistic approaches, awareness and education, conservative management, mitigation, and then, of course, solution. And that's how I would like to approach, the journey of water. The journey of water, they say, started with life, and life starts with women, right? So it's all interconnected. And so I think if we can do something right about water, then we will automatically do something right about women, and therefore right about life.
Very well put. I think it's quite inspiring to hear this, that how you have beautifully connected life, women, and water, all three together. And that is the purpose that we all are here also gathered to appreciate this particular connection, to bring alive those discussions around these connections itself. So very well put, Durga. And I think the way you were sharing, I was kind of intrigued also to know more about, the aspect that how are you feeling the gap that one sees in this particular journey. For example, we find rarely that there are women in this sector, or if they exist, they are probably at the bottom of the pyramid in that sector. So how do you think that you, through your initiative, is trying to fill in that particular gap of women in water sector?
Isn't it interesting that anywhere you go in the world, it's the bane of the woman to find water, right? For the family, whether it's for cooking, drinking, taking care of the children, the women have to find water. I have rarely seen photographs of men carrying pots. Have you?
No
Never.
way. No way.
Every picture I see out there is women carrying water.
Absolutely.
If not women, is little girls following their
Absolutely.
mothers. And it's a sad state to be in, right? That women, and that's life, and little girl children who should be in school are made responsible for water, but they are not in the solution of water. They're more a, what can I say, a showstopper, like a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Let's just fix the problem for the moment. Everything that has to come out of water innovation is presumably supposed to come from men. And why is that? Somebody called me Dr. Das the other day, and I said, no, I'm not a doctor. I said, ma'am, but are you not studying the science of water? You're innovating. I said, yes, but it's all common sense. And who has better common sense than women, right? I think, frankly, women have to survive. We have to multitask. We're expected to play 18 different roles, right? And the only way we can do it and survive is by common sense. So I guess we already have that in us, right? And if common sense is already in us, then why not apply that finding solution? So why is it that we need to have a PhD or a science degree to find something as basic as water, right? Find solutions around water. Actually, if we open our mind, we can do different things to finding those solutions. And maybe it's just my upbringing in sport, right?
Yeah.
I'm a puny little girl. At least I was puny, no longer, right? But I was always going out there to hit sixes.
Yeah.
And everyone said, but why do you do that? I said, well, I have a bat, you have a ball. Why don't you bowl it and I'll hit it?
Yeah.
For me, it was as simple as that. So I think even now, as we are innovating on solution, especially in the space I am in the technology I'm in, people say, oh, but Durga, you need humidity to make this work. I said, well, let's get to the bottom of that. What is the problem with that? So in every meter cubed of air, there is not enough water molecules. Okay, so let's apply common sense. I just need more air.
More air, yeah.
Without losing efficiency. If I can do that, I'll still get water. So how hard is that? Why do I have to be a scientist? I think applying common sense thinking and looking out of the box, letting our minds be free. There is solution in nature everywhere around us.
Right.
I think no one can say it better than Dr. Mansi, right? She has done it all, environment and bringing nature and architecture all put together, flowing one into the other. So I think she is probably more competent than me to say how ideas in nature can easily be brought into solution.
Very well said, Durga. And I think this is the right time to bring Mansi into the discussions, because I think both of you you are leading a life of Durga, which is multitasking already. Mansi, over to you to carry forward the conversation in this regard.
Thank you, Vandana, and thanks, Durga, for starting as candid as I was expecting it to be. And I think we are going to rock here together. And it's really nice to hear from you a very important word, which is the biggest crisis at this moment in humanity, and that is common sense. I think we will pick it up from there, that why are these many solution makers, which are often led by men, and I wish to bring to you here the statistics, global statistics on women professionals in water. It is only 1 in 5 water professionals, which is women. And in India, we fare even worse than that. Then why are people short of common sense? I mean, does it require to, as you rightly mentioned, to do PhD to have a common sense? I think no. I think the poorest of the person, the distressed of the person knows the value of water more than we are knowing about it. So having said that, putting rest to the common sense part of it, but because this is a conversation more on the leadership side, I like to focus my question on the leadership side of it and ask you, because you have been a sports person, a technocrat to large extent, as well as a social entrepreneur, I'm just wondering, how are you doing this multitasking and you are a global citizen at the same time? How do you see yourself as a, let's say, a human woman who is managing domestic and professional life? So I'm just bringing it back to you as a human, and I will take it further to the leadership later.
Sure. So I don't know if it's my name. I must ask
Yes.
my mother. She gave me this name and now I'm stuck with it.
You are stuck with your, your 10 hands are invisible. Only 2
I'm
are
expected
visible.
to live up to it, I guess. So if
Your
I
8
start with
hands are
that,
invisible.
yes. So I don't know, since I was a kid, I think she told me why she called me this name. And somehow I just felt then it should be possible to live up to my name. And so multitasking became natural. It was also situational. When I was 11, my father had an accident and we lost everything. We were on the streets, couldn't pay our school fees or have food to eat. All I knew then was cricket because I started playing when I was 10. And I don't know, I was 13 or 14, I think, when I told him, okay, I will do something when I'm 18. And he said, why not now? I'm like, now? I have no idea what to do now. But you know, when there is a will, there is always a way.
Yes.
And when that will is genuine and doesn't have a self agenda, and you put that feeling or that will into the universe always delivers.
Absolutely.
So somewhere inside me was this need to wanting to take care of the family. I knew nothing, but it was out there. And lo and behold, I was guided to thinking about cricket. I said, oh, wait a minute, I can sell a bat and a ball. So I started a sports shop. My nickname is Didi, Durga Das. And so DD Sports was started when I was about 14 or so. And after school, I would run that small shop. And then one thing led to the other. I was near the beach, so Dollops, the Cadbury ice cream, came and said, oh, start selling ice creams. I said, okay. I had started playing golf. So some of my friends were managing some estates, and my classmates' parents owned very large industrial companies. I realized they must be drinking tea and coffee. So I started selling them wholesale tea. So here I was going to school and doing these small little things to put food on the table. And that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. And that made me realize that, I mean, I didn't have education at that time, right? I was still a kid. I didn't have money. I had no business sense, of course, whatsoever. So then what was it? Then what made it happen? I mean, today, if I reflect upon it, I have no answer for it other than faith. There was just something that guided me to doing something. And subsequently, as I grew up, I realized there was one thing that I could have taken away from that, which I apply today in my life, and that's humility. The minute you say, I don't know, then you're opening the doors to knowledge. And so I just said, listen, I want to be in water, but I don't know. And then I started meeting all kinds of people like you who all knew. And every time I met someone like you who knew, then I started getting to know a little bit more. And so now my job is very simple. I put together a whole bunch of people who know. And I just guide us into this journey of a solution. It's kind of like playing cricket, I think. You know, you need a team of 11. And there is a captain, I know, but everybody in the team is important.
Absolutely.
So when you bring all that knowledge together, we can become very powerful. It's very important for me to bring a lot of women together. So I've been, like you, searching for more women in water. And like you rightly said, there aren't enough. So I'm encouraging people who are not necessarily in water to join me on this journey and said we can learn along the way. After all, you just have to jump with 2 feet in. We learn to swim, right?
Yes.
So that's where we are now. And for me, that whole idea of women coming together. Say one woman can multitask. Can you imagine a horde of women? I mean, there's nothing they can't achieve. This world is conquered.
I'm imagining when if a boardroom is filled with women and we are discussing the problems of water, it will come out with a very different solution than the way we are seeing today, which unfortunately is not happening. And that's the very reason Wiki Water Resource Council is really working hard to bring more women into the boardrooms where solutions are discussed, where problems are discussed, where actually problems are not discussed holistically, and that is where solutions also come half-heartedly, and solutions are more driven by economic gains than really the rightful, I will say, impact. But just getting more curious, being a national cricket player to becoming a global water entrepreneur and a connector, you are a very good connector, and I do understand the role and responsibility you have. And of course, you carry a great bit of humility along with you. But how do you see this problem of really not having much women? I should not use the word expert here because you made a very good remark in the beginning of the conversation. But, engaging more women in the solution making side, because we all know that women are actually seen on the other side of it, that is the vulnerable side of it. Water problem means women's problem because women have to ensure water, which already is a sign of patriarchy to large extent. But let's say we live with that part of it because the focus is on the other side, the solution making, decision making side of it. Why do you think that we are not really finding more women on board there, or is it that they are there or they are not recognized, or what is your experience in this journey?
So I want to share a little something about one of the books I'm writing.
Yes.
Right? It's got a placeholder name called The Mirror Within.
Okay.
And it's about perspective and perception.
Mm-hmm.
To me, perspective is what you see and think. Perception is what you see but feel.
Yes.
I think women are more perception than perspective. We see and first thing we do is feel. Whereas men see and they think. So I think like when women are looking at water.
See and using the head and see and using the heart, it's that as different as that.
As simple as that, actually. So when we see the water crisis or water problem, we are feeling what, oh my God, this is not good. What should we do? We are feeling it. Whereas a guy or a man comes and says, wait a minute, let's see. Can I make a tap? I mean, he's not feeling it. He's thinking solution. No, I think there's a subtle difference about feeling and thinking, which need to come hand in hand. But if you
complement.
Ask me, yes, but if you ask me, I'll say I would rather feel first than think.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I definitely think.
Absolutely. I feel also like we should have heart of the department and head of the department,
So the minute we as women take our feeling and say, okay, enough, so let's stop crying over it. Now what to do? We will start coming into solutions. I think that is the difference in disparity of more women in water than men in the solution space. It's not in the feeling space. A lot of women are advocating water, but they're not finding the solution. Right? There are a lot of women in policy.
We have to step up.
Yes, we need to step up and move beyond feeling into doing. Right? And doing as in not the policy, not the advocacy that we're doing. We have to step up in the doing of the actual solution. Right? That's typically where men tend to go, and we tend to speak or eloquate, or we go out and advocate. So I think
so for example, like,
see, for example, I in the space of water that I've been talking to women, I find so many women are advocates. They're in policy. They have platforms for communicating, bringing people together and saying there is a problem, right? But how many of them are actually finding the solution? There are more women in bringing awareness and fewer in saying, listen, I just need to get it done.
So it's again the thinking and feeling difference, huh?
Yes. For me, this perspective and perception are very critical. I think it's important to have both. But like I said,
What
lead
comes
from the
first?
heart, but finish with the head. So
Very
for
well
me,
put.
I feel I wanted to solve a problem. Now, I could have continued to speak about it. But I said, no, I'm just going to create something. I have to do it. So when you intend to do, just like when I started and I was 14, when the intention is there, then everything comes around, Then one thing leads to the other and a solution falls into your way. Then then after that, it becomes a little, what can I say? No, I won't say simple, but it's more a process to start a company, to make a business, to raise money, to find people. All that is a process, right? And once you've done it once, you can keep doing it, right? But to get to that stage is very important.
I'm just curious about your experience because you are a global citizen and working pan continents. How do you see the difference of work culture when it comes to gender parity, especially working in India? Let's say you can give example, or in the US or in Europe. What kind of difference do you see in the water sector when it comes to women professionals?
Actually, to be honest, I think women are doing much better now than ever before,
Yes.
especially in India. And I think India is no longer developing third world country. I think we're actually a superpower. We just haven't recognized it for ourselves. We as Indians, I think, tend to stay very humble, even if it's not necessary. And then as women, we want to stay even more humble, right? So we don't go out there and amplify our potential, which I think we should. I also think as women, we need to support each other. I find that a little lacking. When I meet other women in not just water, but in anything, sport, business, I like to champion them. I like to speak for them. I like to speak on their behalf. I'm their best PR, in fact, right? But women by nature don't even want to speak about themselves, let alone anyone else. I don't know if it's our upbringing. Hopefully it is changing. And it has its strengths, it has its weaknesses. The strengths are, it's definitely humility, no? And I think with that, the number of women with such brilliant minds in our country is quite astounding. I was at a women scientist conference in Bombay. All were women. I didn't see any man. I was like, wow, nuclear scientists, atomic energy scientists, all women. I was, I was just floored standing amongst them. I was thinking, my God, and they're so humble and so hidden. I don't know if you remember seeing the movie Hidden Figures. It's about the African-American women who all were part of the space journey in the United States. And I think there are hidden figures in India, not 3 or 4, several thousand. And I think it's people like you and your platform that I think can bring that out to light. But I lived and worked in the Valley for 25 years. Before that, I was here for 6-7 years. And then, of course, I came back here and I've been going back and forth since then. So it's kind of, when I say mixed bag experience, but more and more, I don't find so much diversity. I find 25 years ago, it was very different. I mean, I remember going to America and I wore brown glasses. So I made everyone look brown. Automatically, it became normal. So there's no question of feeling intimidated by some white skin, right? So that was my simple approach to dealing with, equanimity. But I think that's so much different today. If you see, Indians are the top of every large corporation there is, not just technology, even FMCG and otherwise. And I think it's becoming more and more easier. But yeah, it still can improve. I think we need to have very strong voices, voices that support other women. I think if we continue on that journey, we will quickly see these hidden figures come to light.
Very well put. Actually, in the Wiki Water Resource Council, the very agenda is that we build this sisterhood relationship and we amplify the works of the women who are working on it. That's the motto of the Water Resource Council, which I am right now heading in the country. And very well put that it is required that every woman actually have that leadership quality, that they're able to take along other women, amplify and become the PR for other women as well.
Yeah.
That also helps to amplify their work. So these women have to understand very well, because it's walking together, you can walk longer,
Yes.
than walking solo. So that's important. Very well put point. I will now invite Vandana to ask if there are any other questions. Otherwise, I will take on the other questions which is already there in our list. Vandana, do you want to add something, or I will go to our concluding questions?
Mansi, we can go to our concluding question.
Okay, thank you. Durga, you have worked again, PAN, other places, so I will still pose my question in that way. When you see the future generation here and future generations across other countries, how do you see that people are really faring in terms of looking at the planet in a different way now, looking at environment in a different way, climate change or water for that matter? Do you see now there is more sense of urgency or engagement or concern? I mean, Kreta made it quite loud and clear to all of us, but then is it also percolating across in the younger generation? Do you see it more optimistic for us to really deal with this kind of rising water crisis? Along with it also, the patriarchy is not really going away. So it is the more water crisis, the more difficulty it is becoming for women. So I'm trying to link that up and trying to understand where do you see the future generation or the youth of today standing in this context, both in patriarchy as well as water?
So I truly believe that we are simply fixing the mistakes of our own generation.
Yes.
Hopefully we will mend it a little bit. We have
Do
to
you think so?
we have to create a platform for the youth. It has to be all about them. And so towards that, as far as I'm concerned, Aeroniro has actually started a trust in the UK.
Okay.
We have a youth team that we're pulling together, youth team of people who are refugees children, as well as people in governance, and they're all young. And so they will be the voice of that trust. I truly think that's important. The trust is not going to be focused only on the solutions our company has, which is, air water generators, but this trust will do everything about water. For example, support people like you and your platform to spread the message about water, find solutions, collect data, and it has to be holistic in approach, and that's what we want to do. So the team is coming together. We have some very good advisors from around the world who are agreeing to come on board. Hopefully in the next 60 to 90 days, we will officially make public the trust. And for me, that I think is the future, even in our team. For the moment, I have brought in people who all have 30 plus years experience, because the problem is too big for us to start as an entrepreneur and learn the basics. We need to first get the solutions in place. And once the solutions are being delivered and we are able to measure impact, along that journey, we should bring youth to participate with us. Because unlike a typical startup, where we can innovate together, we can make mistakes together, then we can get up again, we can change, we can pivot, we can change our ideas. This problem is not meant to be trifled with. It's not something to be playing fool with. We have very little time.
Yes.
And we need to find solutions and implement those solutions very quickly. Otherwise, we will very soon be, staring at a point of no return. And before we get there, we need to bring all experience and expertise to bear. So our Aeroniro now in California, I'm very happy to say, our president is somebody who came from Ecolab, one of the world leaders in water. And Anil is, was in Ecolab for 14 years. as a chief compliance officer, chief information officer. He very graciously agreed to be our president. And he brought on board with him a whole bunch of people who understand water as a business, so that we can very quickly take to market solution. Similarly, here in India, we brought on a very good team. So why I say this is we, for all purposes, yes, we're a startup, but like I said, the problem is not something a startup should play around with. So this team of experience is being put into place to guide a team of youth. And so probably in the next 12 to 18 months, we will have a whole bunch of young kids in this journey of impact. And they will be the voice and they will be the future. And hopefully once they start believing in it, they can be, young people now, and I don't want to say kids and be frivolous, but young people today are not just creative, they're also very courageous.
Yes.
They are very brave. And they are not like us who used to be so shy. They are very
Yes,
confident.
that's a good thing, huh? That's a very hopeful sign of the younger
Yeah.
generation.
And they don't mind speaking their voice. So I think that's all very important in finding a solution. Like I said before, it's too late. So we are definitely focusing on that. And I, like you, I believe the youth are, are definitely aware of it. They're no longer thinking someone else is going to fix the problem. They are
Yes.
very much part of this journey. They recognize it. As part of our Rotary, as I said, we go around to communities. When we spoke to you last at the Hydrothon, we had young kids talking
Yes.
about a solution. And so that's something we will keep doing and encouraging. So I am not very worried about the youth playing a part. They definitely will and are. I just think it's more up to us to open the door and let them in.
Yes. But you put a very interesting way how entrepreneurial journey can have a major social impact in the way you are really trying to work around the water sector. Just trying to understand from you, if more and more women leaders are coming into this direction, what kind of leadership qualities you envisage or you may like to suggest, apart from their sector specialization, because what I am trying to also understand in the Wiki Water Resource Council is here you have a sector specialization that is your intellectual, resource. But then a leadership requires an additional skill sets, So what would be your ideas of having more women leadership? Because we are eventually talking about having more women in the boardroom to have decisions along with the men, So, and also have more complementing decisions than the one-way decisions which are taken by, I will say, patriarchal boardroom. So what kind of extra skill sets these women specialists in X water sector or Y water sector should enhance within themselves, and that they can take up the leadership role, because it is definitely an additional requirement than the sector specialization.
So first of all, from a leadership point of view, I think leaders have to, I always say good leaders lead from the front. The best leaders lead from behind.
Absolutely.
So if you lead from the front, yeah, some of them will be able to keep up with you as you forge ahead, but many will struggle and fall behind. When you lead from behind, it's a little slower journey, but you'll push the entire team forward. So I truly think good leaders lead from the front, but the best of them lead from behind. So I think as women, we should not be shy to bring and push people from behind and make sure everyone comes along with you on the journey. Let's not get frustrated that it's a slow process, because it will be. But like you said, for 20 of us are walking that journey, it will become easier at some point, rather than 2 in front and everyone being, lagging behind.
Absolutely.
And that's leadership as a general, not just for women, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But women in particular, as I said, I think we just need to be honest. We just need to speak our heart out. I mean, we're not trying to say or do something that is, women by nature are mothers, they are, at least have that instinct to protect. instinct to nurture. So straight away, that's a plus point. When you learn to protect and nurture, then why are we shy about speaking our minds out? It's not coming from a place of bad ideas. It's not coming from a place of self-agenda. It's coming from wanting to create a change for the community. So why should we be shy to speak out loud? You know, let's just let our innate nature, the nature to nurture.
But do you think this, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. Just the nature to nurture should be loud.
Yeah, but do you think this inhibition in the woman, especially in our context in India, let's say, is deep ingrained that we are unable to, or we are not speaking our mind, or we are too occupied with too many things, that not many women are really taking up the leadership role? Because sector specialists, as you rightly mentioned, even with your experience of a conference in Mumbai, that there are many women in the water sector as well. But then the faces which are to be reckoned with, you know, the faces whom people will listen to are very few, you know. And that is concerning, because when it comes to decision making, because they are very few, I mean, in the decision making also, and that influences the decision itself. So I mean, just to understand from you, because we are also the country in the world which has the highest number of educated women who are not employed in the mainstream, you know. So so sector and education are all in place, and we also have very strong campaign of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and all those kind of things. And yet, having said that, what are things we really require to do to expedite this process? And you rightly mentioned it is a slow process. We have to walk from behind. This is all the things which we are trying to do in the Wiki Water Resource Council, you know, walk the girls along with us from the background, amplify them and all. But somewhere, because of this urgency, I also feel that maybe some things extra we have to do to really make the voices heard in the boardrooms. Because one of the agenda in the Wiki Water Resource Council is that once we have this number of conversations and experts, we are also trying to write a manuscript out of it. And we are just going to gift it to the organizations, whether it is corporate or government, and give them the list of these women, like, come on, next time you do a Manals meeting, you may get some of us, you know, just as constructive and, you know, in a playful manner, we wish to do that. But this is just one of the ways. But maybe you have more experience because you are working all over. Some quick tips how we can really expedite the process and bring more women into the boardrooms.
So let me tell you a little story. It will take only a few, like a minute or so. I was in Bangalore at a meeting. Then I was sitting in a lounge, and there was some football on TV. I was sitting always in the same chair I always sit in. There was a gentleman sitting next to me on the left-hand side. And I turned around and said, do you mind if I change the channel to a cricket channel? He said, yeah, sure, no problem. So we changed. And the way he said it, I knew he had an accent. He was obviously from the US. So I asked him, where are you from? And he said, San Diego. I said, oh, really? And I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in water. I said, oh my God, God put you here for a reason. Right? I said, I'm in water too. I need you to help me. Right? Then that's all I did. But guess what? This man is Anil. Okay. He said, yes, I will help you. And the minute he retired from Ecolab, he came on board. Now, it's important for us to bring women to the boardroom, but to bring the women to the boardroom while we open our voices and be bold enough to ask, it's important to find the right men to say, yes, I will be behind you.
Okay, yes, and absolutely
Anil, right? His experience at Ecolab, 14, 15 years, didn't take 10 seconds for him to say, no, I'm behind you. I will help you make it happen. So I think finding the right men is also very important to make sure that women are truly heard and can shine, as leaders. There are very few men who can understand and accept and make it happen, but it's our job to find them. And therefore, we cannot be shy. We just need to be bold enough to say, hey, can you help me? And some of them will say yes.
Absolutely. You just reminded me of the conversation I had with Nandakumar sir today. And it was exactly in the same manner, as you just mentioned with Anil. And I was talking to him, and I said that yes, we need some support system in running this, water conversation series. And he was like, yes, all for you, you know. So, and I think that these few words itself is a lot of motivation and encouragement, that you feel like doing things, and you can go to ask certain things, you can get mentoring done. And I think that's important part of leadership as well, that you have mentors for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
That brings me to the last question, which is a little bit lighter, and that's a message for the younger generation, to make the work enabling environment, to make it more gender neutral. For example, maybe you and me would wish to live a life where we stop talking about gender discrimination in our lifetime. So what message would you like to give it to the younger generation to make it more gender friendly or gender neutral work environment in the water sector?
If I will not offend anybody, I'll share the name of the book that I was going to write, right?
Go ahead.
And the explanation is in the title itself, and I'll explain it to you. The name of the book is If You Want to Shit Well.
Yes, very good. I love it.
Okay, now I'll explain why. Have you seen people the night before? I don't eat after 7 o'clock. I eat only fruit as a light meal. Some people have 2 spoons of isabgol. Whatever it is to make the job next day easier.
Yes.
Right? Whatever it takes. In the morning, people drink tea, coffee, cigarette, newspaper, magazine, anything. Complete focus and commitment. Nobody exists till I finish this job.
Such a good business model, huh?
Right? The world doesn't exist for me till I finish this job. And
Yes.
have you ever seen anyone go inside that bathroom and say, oh, I have to go meet Mansi now. Let me do half later. What half? You will not come till you finish the whole shitty job. Right?
Absolutely.
So very simply put, you plan the night before. You're 100% focused and committed to the job, and you never leave it half done. If you can apply this for everything in life, there is no reason why you won't succeed.
Very well put, and I really like the title as well. I wish I was bold enough to even write something with such titles, but I will try definitely next time. But I think that's a good note also to bring the conversation towards the end, and I will hand it over to Vandana to do the formal thank. And thank you, Durga, and I really love you to see again and again we do this conversation this way or other way. Thank you so much. Over to you, Vandana.
I don't think so. I want to end this conversation, and I wish I could really stretch it, but time has a constraint, and maybe we can just bring back Durga after some episodes again, because we really need to hear more from her and get those words of encouragement. Durga, you have been truly inspiring for us as a collective under Vicky Water Resource Council, and also personal front as well. Having tread multiple roles already, I mean, you are really living up to your name, as you rightly put it yourself, that, you're multitasking all the time. So being a sports enthusiast to actually professionally taking it up, building an enterprise around it, and then entering into water sector, realizing the vast impact that it has on society in general and women in specific. So hats off to you for having done that really very well, and bringing out your solutions also into the sector. Your words on women leadership and the need to push from behind, and also having the right men to support us. I think you have put in a good element of thought into us, that how we can, under our Vicky Water Resource Council, can actually expand the horizon and bring more such conversations on board. So thank you for inspiring us to give that element of thought. And also, I think your last and my biggest personal takeaway, and I'm sure Mansi and others present in the meeting will also be willing to, accept readily the title of the book that you have given us. I think it's a good mantra for us, which will stay for lifelong with all of us, that how commitment can be brought in and how it can lead to a positive impact the very moment you have taken up this commitment. So thank you so much for being so inspiring. Thank you, Radhika and Garima, for joining us today for this conversation. And thank you, Mansi, for always leading the conversation with, engaging moments and deriving insights out of these conversations. So thank you, Mansi, as well. We thank our supporters, Vicky, Water Source Councils, and also Counterview for having supported. Most importantly, W4W Foundation and EDRC for having supported this initiative. Last but not the least, I think next week we have Follow Me Banerjee. So we request everybody to tune in again and join us. We'll share more details through our social media handles. So thanks a lot. Keep healthy and safe. See you all next week.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
Durga, and
Mansi.
thanks,
Thank you,
Vandana.
Vandana. Thank you
See
very
you,
much
see
for
you on
having
the
me.
other side. Okay, thanks a lot.